Prologue. Death comes for us all. Samuel Lewis led an uneventful life. From the time he was a young boy to his final years in rural Ohio, he kept himself secluded from the rest of the world. As he grew older, the isolation became increasingly difficult to tolerate. As a means of coping, he focused his attention on research, specifically genetic engineering. In the fall of 2000, Samuel made a breakthrough. He found by applying a controlled electric shock to his blood cells, they would begin to divide until a new being was formed. Using modern technology, he was able to extract undesirable traits and replace them. 2003 saw Samuel's final test. Realizing his time on Earth was running short, he made the decision to create a child, a daughter around the age of 10. Each time he awakened her from stasis, he examined her capacity for knowledge. When something became too challenging for her, he would put her to sleep as a means of manipulating her chemical and neurological makeup. Soon enough, she was able to challenge his own understanding of life. One late evening, a powerful storm hit. Rain drenched the earth like tears. One drop seeped through the roof, then another, and still another. A single spark was all it took. A home which once stood firm crumbled to ash in the blink of an eye. From the wreckage, a force emerged. Someone with hazel eyes, partially hidden behind light brown hair. Her stoic expression did nothing to hide her exhaustion. Chapter 1. Passerby. The girl who survived the late-night firestorm trudged along the empty road with nothing more than a handcrafted wooden box. Leaves softly swept past her. Somehow they made her feel worse than she already did. By dawn, she reached the nearest city. She let herself dry in the sun before approaching one of the small local shops. "Hey kid," the shopkeeper greeted. He was a young man in his early 20s. He wore a backwards cap with a soul patch under his lower lip, a red shirt with a band logo, and khaki shorts. "Whoa, you look like hell." "My dad's sick." "Oh, I'm sorry. It's tough when the folks are out of commission." "Yeah. Well, if you see anything you like, let me know." "Thanks." The child scoured the store. Soon enough, several items caught her attention. She grabbed a baby blue shirt with a cartoon Daisy graphic, a baby blue hooded jacket, a pair of blue denim shorts with a black belt, socks, and a black pair of sneakers. "Killer threads. Got kind of a feminine tomboy thing going on. That everything?" "Actually, there's something over there." The young girl pointed to a V-shaped guitar hung on the upper back wall. "I don't know. It's pretty pricey." "How much is it?" $200. "I'll take it." "Sure it's not going to be too heavy?" "It's fine." "Tell you what, I'll throw in an amp for free." "Is there anything I can play outside?" "Something battery powered? Hang on a sec." The shopkeeper gripped an amplification unit sitting behind him. "This should do the trick. It's only 15 watts, but it's light and versatile." He rang up the girl's purchases. The total amounted to $225. "See you around." "Maybe." The child opened the door. Before she could leave, she heard the man's voice one more time. "Hey kid, what's your name?" She gave him a sympathetic expression, one he wouldn't forget for as long as he lived. Anne Lewis. Chapter 2, Soul Descent. Anne turned her... let me try that again. I messed up. Anne tuned her guitar to drop D. The suppressed glow of the campfire couldn't lift the veil of shadows through the trees. She halted her strumming when the vibrations of the air carried a charmingly sinister voice to her ears. "It's late. You should be home in bed." Anne turned around. She saw a woman in a long black dress standing mere feet away from her. The woman composed herself in a traditionally ladylike manner. "I don't have a home," Anne spoke truthfully. "Such a shame." With an inhuman burst of speed, the woman charged forward. Her nails dug through Anne's skin, stopping only when the child's body dangled above the ground. Anne's life energy trickled down to the earth. For a moment there was silence, and then a frustrated sigh. "You couldn't even finish the job." "You're still alive?" With a swift strike to the woman's head, Anne sent her flying. The woman crashed against a tree. Her spine was severely damaged. She couldn't bring herself to stand. "I don't know what you are, and I really don't care. The sad fact is you're a murderer. I guess your time came a bit sooner than mine, unfortunately." Anne walked toward the woman before jamming the headstock of the guitar through her neck. "Maybe I'll see you again, sooner or later." Anne walked away. The woman's body immediately decomposed and fell to pieces. Chapter 3, Compress. Anne continued to develop her body and mind as she traversed the eastern United States over a period of 6 months. She visited many places investigators claimed to be haunted. However, the truth was far more disheartening. All she found were beings of flesh hell-bent on destruction. The end of her expedition took her to Virginia, where a lone house stood on a hill. Like many of her previous explorations, this one too was isolated from civilization. She noted the overgrowth of vines and weeds. The lawn hadn't been tended to for a while. Anne carefully opened the front door. She examined every surface of the first room. Despite nothing being there, she felt an oppressive presence, one full of anger and guilt. For her, it further drove a point she was already convinced of home. The young girl stealthily made her way to the kitchen. Vines blocked much of the sunlight from entering the building, though there was still enough to see. Anne's nostrils detected a foul scent. She could barely refrain from gagging. After doing a sweep of the first story, she headed upstairs. She swore she felt something tug on her hood. The bedroom in the middle of the second-story hall overwhelmed Anne. Traces of water involuntarily escaped her eyes. She felt the sorrow so long trapped inside. "Truly magnificent, isn't it?" a voice antagonized. Anne turned around. The appearance of the man behind her resembled a 19th century English gentleman. His hair and mustache were fine shades of medium brown. He wore a Victorian top hat and a monocle to further disguise his nature. "Let me guess, Reginald or Sebastian, right?" Anne chastised. "I sense hostility, madam." "You're the guy that's been hiding out here." "Correct. You must be the young lady who's been slaying my compatriots." I wouldn't have had to if you weren't vile garbage. Every action has a consequence. Your pessimistic outlook has become quite infamous among us, you know. If you have such deep insight into my head, then you tell me who I am and what my motivations are. Alas, I can only know what you speak. I want to ask you something. What do you think I would have done had I led a normal life? What would I have grown up to be? I'm afraid to say I don't know. The way things were going, I would have gone to school and eventually found a career, maybe gotten married and had a few kids, and it wouldn't have meant anything. I would have wasted my life barely making ends meet, wondering why I hated everything and everyone, including my own family. If Samuel had been around a little longer, he would have felt the same way about me. That's what reality is. It's blood, sweat, tears, and disappointment from the moment we're born to the day we die. At least while I'm disposing of monsters like you, I'm making a difference while maintaining my freedom. I see. So true freedom is your purpose. You have two options. Either stop killing or I'll make you stop. No, I don't believe a duel will be necessary. Your anger has punished you far more than any physical altercation ever could. Anne didn't respond. I shall leave this place. There's no reason to stay any longer. I advise you to do the same. Do you know the saddest part? Samuel was just another example of someone being strangled into complacency, like most people. He never thought about how I would feel being brought into this world. It wouldn't surprise me at all if some of your victims felt the same way I do. Anne walked past the man she had only moments before been ready to destroy. She uttered the last words she would ever speak to someone else possessing human intellect. This is the end for me. Maybe you can make up for the wrong you've done. God knows I wish I could. Epilogue. Sleep. Anne dragged herself into an open field near the woods. She removed her guitar and set it beside her before collapsing. She lied motionless for some time, basking in the light of the sun with her eyes closed. She opened them when she heard a weak mew sound. An orange kitten had found its way next to her. "Hey, kitty, are you lost?" The kitten mewed again in response. "Looks like we're in the same boat." Anne pulled the kitten on top of her stomach. She scratched around its ears and chin. "I wonder why the world ended up so broken. More importantly, I wonder why I wasn't a better person. Do you know, kitty?" The kitten purred as she continued to scratch. "I guess I shouldn't expect you to know the answers." Anne closed her eyes again. "I know you'll have to leave me soon, but I understand. I hope you find a good home someday." Though Anne wanted to stay the way she was through her final hours, she knew it wasn't meant to be. Her last days would be spent alone, and she would finally attain the eternal rest she longed for. And that's the end of Solitary. Wasn't really that long, but I couldn't really think of much more to add to it. So, there's my second audio reading, and I hope you guys understood it. Maybe not understood it, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, maybe related a bit to it. I don't know. I kind of just wrote it in the heat of the moment, which is how a lot of things get written. And I refined it a bit after the initial writing process. So, anyway, I'll see you guys later.